Smash Factor.
Ripping driver, going for it. Oh my goodness, how about that tee shot?
That is crazy how far that is.
Wow. John Daly, take a back seat, big fella. How about that drive?
That's an aggressive line. That is beyond long.
Look at this, he's just driven the green. He has just driven the green.
I guess hello world, huh?
Welcome everybody to the Smash Factor, week 32 of the 2021-2022 PGA season, the RBC Canadian Open at St. George Golf and Country Club in Toronto. Hope you guys are doing well. Apologize for this being out a little late. Long night last night. I was getting ready for bed and all of a sudden had some kind of food allergy reaction and ended up at the ER till about 2 or 3 in the morning. So it made for a long night, early morning, put me behind on some things, but still want to get the pod out. We're going to roll through this fairly quickly, and then be back tomorrow for deep dive and final thoughts. All content will be caught up like normal by the end of the day today. Just need to take a little time, rest a little bit after last night, but I will get it all out. Appreciate all the support in the Slack when I told that to them. Let's have a good week this week. Last week was not a good week. It was some fairly good chalky pieces hit. I just started out with, Matsu, the DQ there, which some I heard say, well, he was +3. I was like, yeah, but you also got told on hole 2 about it. He went ahead and finished the 9 as they were trying to figure it out. So you had to think that was kind of messing with his mind a little bit. Either way, that happens, just like a withdrawal. I mean, it just happens. It sucked, in my bullet, which really didn't come out to matter. I guess it could have a little bit. My last call, I went Matsu over Willie Z, so that was like the first time I've dodged the Willie Z, that I like him so much. Didn't play him. I think he backdoored top 5, something like that. Matsu gets a DQ. Had some life still on the weekend, but man, the Sunday rounds were brutal. Cam Young did not see that coming. I don't know if he could. He was playing great all week. Just surviving, hanging in there. Tough challenge. And man, and he wasn't the only one. There was a lot. Every day there was, a handful that would blow up, but Sunday was definitely tough. I think he shot 84 or something. So all that kind of, everybody I did have kind of alive and in it. I had Willie Z in my MME stuff, just didn't do him in the single entry. Most of those, but I had Neiman, had Willie Z there, guys like that, Riley, a good pull, but with some very key pieces that did not come through. Kitayama was a guy missed by 1. That kind of went it for a little lower own type deal. You take those chances, doesn't turn out that way. Still, one of those guys you sit there on Sunday and you're like, you like him, but you get off of him because he's going to be 10 to 12%. And that's what he was at 6,600. And sometimes I've been doing that lately where I just go with the guy and say, I'm going to get different elsewhere because I liked him all week. I didn't do that with Still. And he wound up coming through. It looked like he was going to fall apart Friday afternoon. Hung on for the make the cut. Same with Reed. Reed was really high owned. Decided to pivot off him that week, and he comes back, storms back, makes the cut. Those things happen. All little things that could happen, but bad week overall. Betting, we did hit our third first round leader in a row with Cam Young, 40-1, but another big chop. Kind of a little disappointing, but still give us a little bit of money back. I'll have all the update on the full stuff tomorrow, like I've been doing with the bets on Wednesday. Sunday, really, I would say Neiman was probably the only one that gave us a chance to get the outright. Young was there early, obviously before the absolute meltdown, but I didn't know if he was going to have enough because Billy was going to have to back up some. Neiman got it to within, I think the best was 2 or 3. Once Billy made that huge eagle putt on the back 9, I knew it was over. And then, Neiman doubled and then went birdie right after it. So, small thing swing, no outright again. Been just cold on those. Now, a lot of there's been, the Scheffler run, stuff like that. Have had some good first round leaders. Last 2 have been chopped. We had some decent ones before that. So we're going to try to get back on the hot streak there. Val Attic over in chat, saw him. He hit a little 4,444 ticket for next week's U.S. Open. That's awesome from him. Had a lot of guys that had some pretty good sweat Sunday, but a lot of them were circled around Cam Young and some variations of those guys blowing up. So kind of a bad Sunday for the crew, but we'll get back at it. U.S. Open right now. You can use that code U.S. Open, 30% off any package, includes a 7-day risk-free trial. Great week to do it with the U.S. Open coming up next week. This will be our last not our last big promo, but the 30% off probably until we kick off NFL. The nice thing about doing it this week is you can test it, check out the stuff. If you join, this is going to come out later Tuesday, but you join today or tomorrow, you're basically get all the U.S. Open coverage as well. So it's a good week. Check it out. Sign up for weekly or monthly with that code. I think weekly comes to, I don't know what it is, $7-8. I'll figure that out, but it's very cheap if you want to try it for a week, and you get the week trial that gives you 2 weeks. And you don't get charged until the first 7 days is up. So if you don't like it, you can cancel any time before that. I'll be doing my U.S. Open giveaways like I do for every major next week. 2 easy ways to get in for free. Rate and review us on iTunes, subscribe to us on YouTube, and like this video in the comment section and tell me who you want to fade in the 10K range. Very top heavy loaded field this week. Who's the one guy you'd be willing to get off of in there? And that'll get you into those drawings for next week. Listener League is up, out a little later this week. We're adjusting to getting to new rep there. But same 300 this week. We want to get it to 500 next week like we've done the last 2 majors. So let's fill that quickly, please. Click on the link in the description. Last week's winner, Yancey Russell. I think he may be a 2-time winner this year, but solid lineup, 492.50. Connor, Zalatoris, Neiman, Bradley, Billy Ho, and P. Reed. High owned lineup, but it worked this week. Sometimes that happens. Great build. Got it, pulled all the key pieces together and had some, somewhat lower. So it all worked out in the way that he did that. I really like the build. I like the way he did it. Congrats on the W. If you have not won, I will send you your invite today as well. This week, as you know or may not know, we got a lot of new people that come around here. The RBC Canadian Open, it rotates courses. It hasn't been played since 2019 because of the COVID and travel and all that kind of stuff. On my sheets, if you looked at them, you can see it shows the results, but that's just for this tournament. It's not necessarily this course. I haven't played this course since 2010. So in the course fit model, I pull in some weeks it's 3, 4, 5, normally no more than 5 comp courses that I like to try to fit this course this week to see, it's never exact. And I definitely lower course fitting and course ratings this type of tournament where we don't have as much things to go about. And on this one, they've had several redos or adjustments and changes, big ones to the greens since 2010. So definitely not looking at anything really 2010 wise. It is par 70, 7,000 yards, 5 par 3s, 3 par 5s. Which leaves you 10 par 4s. A little bit different setup than majority of courses. Brings a little bit more emphasis into those par 3s, par 5s, but split differently. Normally you get 4, 4, and 10, but this way 5 par 3s, bring more iron game into play. Just going through the flyby and all that. Kenny Kim he's been in a big work deal, so I think his preview may come out later tonight instead of where it has been. But it looks tight off the tee. It kind of reminds me of, it's a little bit like last week. Obviously, I think a lot of people are looking at Potomac, stuff like that. Maybe even Colonial. Just some of the small subtleties there, trying to piece it together. But you want to be in the fairways. It sounds like, or close to them. We'll get to the weather in a second because I think that's going to be big as well. They're normally firm, fast fairways. Looks like to me when you're kind of going through the flyover and all that, you want to be in the right spot off the tee, which initially would just say maybe not as much as of a bomb and gouge type week. And I don't think it still will be, but I do think length may come into factor based on some weather stuff. So, similar guys who can be in the right position. You still want good hitters, ball strikers. The greens are small, tough to hit. I think around the green will come into play once again. That kind of brings in that Colonial, Memorial a little bit. So I'll bump that up a little bit. Very small, quick, bent greens. See how quick they get them. They may want to get them a little quicker if the course is going to play soft. I don't know. Definitely listen to the pressers today, tomorrow, and stuff like that's going to be key for me as we wrap into the final thoughts and rankings. Weather. So they've had a lot of rain. It kind of sounds like where we are right now. They've had a lot of rain in May. Similar to Memorial, it had a lot of rain in May. We talked about that last week, and they're getting absolutely pounded right now, as did we last night. We had some places to get 4, 5, 6 inches of rain here in Oklahoma City and Norman, West Oklahoma. Now that we're nowhere close to that, it's just ironic that they're getting, when you're reading some of the reports, the weather reports and stuff of like massive rain. So I don't think that the negative is a lot of these guys probably aren't playing much today, and tomorrow's going to be soppy as well. And some rain's in the forecast throughout. I don't see a wave advantage yet. I want to get that a little more closer. I'll talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. The biggest thing there for me is it going to, I'm trying to figure, when you read pressers, you listen to all this stuff, the big thing I want to hear about is, do I think it'll play harder because of all the rain? The roughs can be as thick as they probably want it. Or when you don't, because if they're normally firm and fast, that sometimes can bring in some shorter guys because they can go, oh, I just need to be at 270 off the tee or 290 off the tee in the right position. They can hit it, let it run down, whatever. But if they're going to be soft, which right now that's kind of sounds like they'd be somewhat soft, and there's no rollout, guys maybe have to hit driver to try to get where they want to be in the right position, and that brings in a little bit more of that, less accurate type stuff. Those are the things over the next 24 hours I'll really be focusing on and kind of dial in. So I'm not getting too pot committed to anything yet, because I think how the course plays and with this weather will be could change how we look at the player pool we want to get to. I'm just historically going off of tournaments that score around that 13 to 15 under, which seems like a safe number. Could play harder with the way it is. +2, +3 cut, 13 to 15, kind of like last week. Very similar scoring is kind of what I see. You may have one or two guys that kind of break that, get up to 17, 18 type. Majority I think are going to be single digit, -8, -9, fighting for that top 20 type stuff. Stats I'm looking at: good drive, stroke gain irons, opportunities inside 18 feet, bogey avoidance, par 3 DK scoring, and good approach. Obviously, I don't know. There may be. I didn't go back and look. I know there's a couple that may have played back in 2010, maybe Luke Donald, something like that. But I didn't even really look at that. Salary ranges: we got 10K 6 guys, 9K 9 guys, 8K 8 guys, 7K 40 guys, 60K. I think we're gonna be around 80-ish, 80 plus. They did have the Monday queue. I had guys get in. I saw them added this morning. So we'll pull those in for the deep dive and all that kind of stuff. So I think that is, you got 120 of the guys are going to be 7,900 or less. Definitely top heavy. And I think the strategy part of that will come into play as far as, when equity's up there, do we just take chances on the guys? It definitely brings in, we've talked about these in these kind of tournaments where the gap from the $6,500 guy to the $7,700 guy, not every single one of them, but a lot of them are not as wide as what we normally see. And then here, you may say 7,200 guy may not be that far off from a 8,400 guy. I think because the 9 and 10 is, fairly loaded. What do we have here? 15. Those 15 guys are all in my top 17. I don't know if I've ever seen that high of where every guy in the 9, 10. Normally I have some filter down, some filter up. And then the next two, the two that aren't in there, are in the 8,000s, 8,500 and 8,100. So all top 17 of my guys are ranked in the initial model, and that could change, are in 8,100 and up. I'd probably have never seen that. So it just tells you how high, you say stars and scrubs. How do we get there? We go balanced where we could. I talked about last week. Didn't do it as much as I should have. Maybe just play all 8K guys, fade everything else. I don't know if that really would have worked out. I know Billy Ho, I think, was in 8K, but some guys got in there late because Ron made a charge, Willie Z did. But for the most part, you could have been very balanced or hybrid balanced last week, and then just takes a few spots, few guys that you really like in the 7s and 6s, and try to get, which is early, but where I'm leaning towards is I may have much more spread out in that 8K range and not try to pick which one of these guys that are all fairly close is going to have that week, and then just go with the few down below that I really feel are mispriced or good leverage or whatever. I'll still have plenty of them, but maybe tighten that up a little bit and just go, all right, I need these guys to hit, be a little more spread out up top. I rarely do that, so I don't know if I get pot committed to it. Because I do think there's some guys I could eliminate up there. If there's, 15 in that range, and you eliminate, depending on how many lineups you're doing, but the appropriate amount of players, and then it's kind of spread out more down low because we don't know who's going to, much more volatility down there. I don't mind that either. Get pot committed to your guys up top, and then, from 8,400, 8,500 and down, kind of go, all right, give me my guys, spread them out, and hope my top guys hit. And then I have enough of the combos down below. Still don't think it's a big week to get too spread out. Just with so much of that volatility, but I do like how it kind of sets up right now, and see how things go for the next 24 hours as we start, getting all the content in, reading it, listen to it, digest, and all that kind of stuff. For me, 9K and above, Sweet 16, I give you 3 and my 3 favorite and a Bubble Boy. Little fade of the week, sleeper of the week, gut feel plays, top 5 that pop in 2 long shots provided by Prize Picks, and then we'll knock it out of here and be back tomorrow. 9K range and above. Right now I'm going to go Rory. I like where he's sitting. He hadn't had his best stuff for a while, but he's still kind of like Rahm-ish. 18, kind of hung around there on the weekend and got 18th, 8th at the PGA. Did win the RBC back in 2019. I just feel price-wise, the one thing I wish DraftKings could look at a little more is, like having Scheffler this week at 12-1 and Rory at, and then maybe you shrink that 7K range from 40 to 25 and you have a bunch more 6, and it forces, where forces you to try to say, is he really worth this type of deal? Scheffler at 11-1 and Rory 600 cheaper. So Scheffler's the only one 11 and everybody else is in the 10s. Now they did to counteract that, instead of pricing them up, they put 6 10K guys, which we normally don't see a lot of in this kind of field. So I get that part of it. That was something. That's the way they wanted to strategize about it, because it makes it tough to play 2 of them. Still can, but you got to take some bullets. And I just think overall this track could fit really well for Rory. Maybe he wants to go into the U.S. Open next week, playing well. He's the number 1 rated out for me. I probably will let ownership be a little more of a factor this week, if up top, especially because if everybody's gonna be on Rory or everybody's gonna be on Scheffler, or everybody's gonna be on, if someone or two, because I think they're all close, and I can make an argument for almost all of them, that I would take that leverage. Now, yeah, is Rory and JT and Scheffler better than Cam, Fitzpatrick, or Lowry, Burns? Sure, but how far are we in this given age this time, in this week, the week for a major? All that kind of stuff kind of factors into me. So for me, I like Rory. I'm going to go there 10-5. And I like Scheffler 11-1. I'm interested to see where he ends up. Are people going to, miss the cut of the PGA, came back and got a second, 15th before that week for the major? My guess is he's going to be higher owned, but do people want to pay 11-1, or they just perceive that as, I need to get more balance this week because the 7 and 6K range are so ugly. I'd rather save and go down to Rory. So that's what I talk about. That shift may start tomorrow, especially when I come on the pod again, where if most people are thinking that I'll just drop the JT, or I'm going to go to Rory and save all that money, and Scheffler becomes in lower, then sure, that's exactly where I would go. But I do like them to the best up there right now as it sits here. First look, first glance type of stuff. Then I like Munoz, 9,200. I think it's a solid price for this field. If you can get that whole game, the whole complete game together on any given week, I think he's sitting right there. You got 3rd at AT&T, 55th at PGA, 48th at Charles. Stat-wise, he's 6th overall for me. Recent 4, 13th. Putter's not, that's just probably his weakness right now, especially on the bent. RBC, he's played into, obviously not this course, but an 11th and a 32nd. I just like him in general. I think he's on the verge of being right there again with a chance to win, just like he was 4 weeks ago at AT&T. Bubble Boy for me is Fitzpatrick. I do like him. My guess is he's going to be one of the higher owned guys, maybe even the highest owned guy when you think about course fit, all that kind of stuff. People love him in general, play him a lot. 5th at PGA. He did miss the cut last week, so maybe people get off a little bit. I like him. I just want to see where he comes in ownership-wise. That's why he's on the bubble for me. And most of the time, my bubble boys are related to ownership. 8K range. I'll go to Vegas. Big price jump. Vegas was staring me in the face all week last week. He was my top-rated 6K guy when it all came done. And I just didn't play enough of him. He finished... he was sitting really well. I think he's one that fell back a little bit. Finished 37th, but he's playing good. I like where he's at. He has 2 RBC wins back-to-back, 16 and 17, then a 29th. Hadn't played since 2018, but good price in this field, 8,500. I think I always talk about that. I've talked about that for years. Like sometimes you have to, and I always build, if you're new, I build my model blindly. So everything's tied to a player, quote unquote. But once it's done, I've not made any, anecdotal changes or moves because of a guy's name or something. I let it kind of come out based on just this initial model because I want it to be all the data and then start tweaking and doing all your deep dive stuff. But Vegas is one you go, oh, man, he was 60 whatever last week. Now he's 85. But pricing's always relative to the field. There are going to be a few that are just egregiously mispriced under and over. So we'll take a look at that. But for where he's at right here and how he's been playing, I don't mind that price. I'll go to Vegas 8,500. CT Pan, a guy I've been riding, he just sticks around. He had a horrible start to this tournament Thursday. Fought back very hard. It made the cut a 53rd. Just didn't do much with it. I get it. But I do like where his game's been in general. If he can just avoid the bogey, that's the one stat that worries me where he ranks at. But 8,100, I'll take a chance there. I like that. Tagali, played him last week. Was my my play of the day. Sunday on round 4 was kind of probably the only thing I think I got right about round 4. Finished 5th. Hung around all week, grinded. And I'm not comping this directly to Memorial, but being that he's made the cut the last 2 weeks, and these two courses are two that I look a little bit at comp wise. 8,700, I think is a little bit of a sticker shock to most. So I hope that keeps some ownership down, and I'll go to Tagali. Reed, I like. I'm wondering, everybody jumped on board last week. Are we off him now? Wait for the U.S. Open. I talked about that a little bit last week, but he's playing better. I feel like he's getting closer and closer. He's one that started out horrible too, and fought very hard Friday to make the cut, which I like to see. And almost blew it again after he had already got back inside the number. But finished 53rd, didn't do much on the weekend. And people go, I'm not paying 8,900 for him. He just blah, blah, blah. 7th at Charles Schwab, though. 34th at PGA. I feel like he's getting closer and closer to his game that he could pop off. He can legitimately win this. So, sneak peek, he's going to be one of my top 5 to bet. Bubble Boy would be only because of, where is the perception? We're going all back in on him. I don't like playing a high-owned Reed. Hurt me last week, but that's where I'll make that decision. That's why he's on the bubble. 7K range, I like Patrick Rogers. Talked about that last week. Didn't get it right. Missed the cut. Still like him, so I'm hoping that, because of the miscut, maybe gets a little bit off of him. I know we're not seeing that as much with people. They kind of get off of it because he had a good run going up into that. He's 20th in my stats, 32nd in recent form, 20 on bent putt. I'll forgive that. $7,700 feels like a good price, fair price for him in this field. I don't mind going there. For Telly, I like him a lot this week. He's a boomer bust guy in general. Playing decent coming in, 25th in my recent form, 69th at AT&T, 35th at Charles Schwab. Stats, I like all of them. Par 3 scoring was the only big weakness. Everything else, he's fairly good. That's why he's 25th overall. Does struggle with the putter, especially on bent. So that would be the one. Can he get high? And if he can, we've seen him win. So, I don't mind going there. 32nd overall in the model, 7,600 total. I like a lot this week, especially because the 6s, the 7s aren't, I'm not in love with. Like some weeks you're just like, man, I can play, half these guys easily. This week, there's some of them very questionable plays, and then 6s are even tougher to swallow this week. But there are a few I do like. Last play in the 7K would be Perez, quietly playing really well, 38th, 12th, and 26th. So I do like the last 2 weeks. If we see this we think it's play a little tougher, like, in that kind of conditions, a 12th and 26. Now, for some reason by tomorrow afternoon, whatever, it was like, I think they're going to get it firm and they'll be able to throw darts and we can see a 20 under. I may not like a Perez as much. So that's one thing I was talking about at the beginning of the pod. But 28th in recent form coming in, 15th in bent putting. My course fit model is 53rd, which isn't bad. A little bit better. A little bit above average, but I think the form that he's got coming in, I really like a lot, and I'll go back to him at $7,600. Mark Hubbard, $7,900. Bubble Boy, looks good. The only thing is, we know he can get bumped up and be a DFS darling at times, so I don't want to play a chalky Hubbard. I don't know if the price would keep some people from just going elsewhere, so maybe that's a bonus. But 11th in bogey avoidance, 22nd in irons, 13 in par 3 DK scoring, 2 straight made cuts with AT&T and Charles Schwab. He did make the 2 cuts the 2 times he played at the RBC in 2016, 2017. Another risk-reward, boom-bust type of guy. But those kind of guys, if they're going to be up in the top ownership of the 7Ks, then I'll just say there's 10 other guys I can move off to that I'm not pot committed to a Hubbard. So, but if he's going to be fairly respectably at the price and ownership looks good, then that's the guy I want to go to. That's why he's on the Bubble Boy for me. 6K range. We go to Garnett. So this one kind of surprised me a little bit, but 15th at the AT&T. Stat-wise, he looks really good. 27th in the field for me. 4th in par 3 DK scoring, 15th in bogey avoidance, 20th in opportunity side 18 feet. His weakness is going to be off, can he hit enough accurate drives to keep him in it? Good approach. He's 19th. For that price and very slim pickings in the 6K range, definitely like Garnett. Adam Schenk, 6,900. I like him a lot. Last 4, he's played 4 straight weeks. AT&T, 79th, 41st at PGA, missed the cut at Colonial, but then came back with a 26 last week. 6,900 for him. Feels good in this field. Actually, a really good price. Could see some ownership go that way. Outside, he's got four of my 6 rankings. He's inside the top 21 in the field. 18th in opportunities at 18 feet, 14th in bogey avoidance, 27th in par 3 DK scoring, 21st in good drive, which is a stat I'm keen on this week. So I like that a lot this week. Gachewski, I think is how you say his name, Gachewski, $6,500. Scott, we've seen him pop up at times. I don't know if he's done much damage really, but he's been around, several, not leaderboards, but up there enough for $6,500. I certainly don't mind taking a stab on him. 23rd in stroke gain irons, 27th in opportunities at 18 feet, 8th in par 3, 47th in bogey avoidance, which 47th is nothing to write home about, but $6,500 in this field, enough positives there that I'll, when I'm going to be very thin in the 6K range, I definitely like that. 30th in good approach. So putting's probably his biggest weakness. He's one of the worst in the field on bent. So that'll be a deep dive note for me. Okay, what grounds is coming into that? Where do they play? Stuff like that. Is there some old rounds pulling it? I have specific ranges I do, but he's a guy that for that price I'll take a chance on it. Wesley Bryan, 6,800, I believe. Where is he at? Yeah, $6,800. He's the bubble boy. No reason why. He was the next guy that kind of caught my eye a little bit. We know he's trying to get his car back, grinding. Made the cut at AT&T. Didn't do much with it on the weekend. He's a guy that would be, I want if it's going to play much more like 10, 11, 12 under, not 17, 18, 19 under. That's probably why he's on the bubble board for me to kind of see what we think. I'm currently projecting it to play on the tougher side, so we'll see how that works out. He's a guy that went on tour, stuff like that. So at that price, I'm okay taking a guy like that that's got enough upside. Nothing flashy that's going to stick out to you, but definitely someone I'll take a look at if we feel that's how the course is going to play. Right now, my fade of the week would be Hadwin. I assume he's been popular before. Here recently, Canadian. I don't know how much the theory of the Canadian stuff will play into this week, but 18th last week, 71st at PGA, missed the cut at AT&T. He's playing all right. I mean, he's playing good, but at 9,300, and if he winds up being really popular, as people try to get that hybrid balance type build, maybe 110K dropping the 9s, and he's a lower 9, then I don't mind going to a Munoz, a Kirk, even a Keith Mitchell type. Or going up, I didn't get to, Hatton Connor, stuff like that. Finau's $100 more. Just try to see how that whole 9K range is going to play out ownership wise. I think he'll be popular. We'll see. Maybe I'm off. I'll adjust that tomorrow if I am. Sleeper of the week for me is Robert Garrigus, $6,400. Some thought he may be playing on another tour this week. They'll live, but he is here. It kind of looks all right. I mean, course fit model, he was 28th. Stats, he's 29th. Putting's not great, but again, $6,400. I got enough positives there. 15th in good drive, 29th in irons, 41st in opportunities at 18 feet. He's got a top 5 and top 22 the last 2 RBCs he played in, which that's not very much factor to me, but for that kind of price, that's the kind of guy I don't mind taking taking my stance on and having in the old player pool. Is he gonna be a 3 max type deal? Probably not, but he is a guy that for sleeper of the week he's gonna be 1 to 2% probably owned. He kind of caught my eye early. Gut feel plays for me this week. Nick Taylor, speaking of the Canadian type, narrative street, I guess, $7,700. I like him a lot. I played him a lot already this year, and so I don't mind going back there again. I guess if he gets steamed up, maybe not. JT Poston, I've been riding him recently. $7,200 feels like a good price for him in this field. Made the cut at AT&T, got 51st. I like him too on a minus 14 type track. Aaron Rye, same, been on him. He continues to impress. 26th last week. Stat wise, probably the good drive stats is worst. 49th in irons. He's just middle of the road there. He did course fit out at second in the model. Like that. I don't think he'll be too high owned. And again, that's why these are gut feel. These are guys I'm just kind of going off a little bit of gut, less data. Alex Smalley, guy I've been playing quite a bit. Took a break from him for a while. I think I'm going to jump back. Had the showing at Charles at the 27th and missed the cut. Was a little bit talked up last week. He's that grinder type. And so, he's 17th in good drive. So if he give himself opportunities, the irons get a little bit better. He's a guy I'll take a look at $7,500, a pedigree guy type guy. And I play those from time to time. But again, that's why he's a gut fill play this week. Betting top 5 to pop in 2 long shots. Click the link in the description. You can get a dollar for dollar match up to $100 with Prize Picks. Use the code GUP, G-U-P. Sunday was not good for me, but before that I had a pretty good run. I did well. I think Thursday I did well. I did well all the way up till Sunday. Had, I think, 3 winning cards. So I'll double check that. I need to get those stats, but a very good, Prize Picks has done very well for me. I'm way up on it in general. Sunday got murdered. Cam Young was one of my favorite plays, stuff like that. Top 5 for me though: Munoz 40-1, Vegas 50, Reed 40, Thagali 66, Pat Perez 80. 2 long shots I like right now: Rogers 100, Fratelli 100. It's one of those weeks where I'm like, you're so win equity up top. Do you just pick one, try to get it right? You move down and have a little 30 to 60 to 70, 80 type cards similar to last week, which Horschel would have fit in there. Neiman, those kind of guys. Lean that way. I'd probably, my favorite guy up top that I'm going to jump under 30 or something would be, either Hatton or Finau, both around that 25, 30. Like those guys I just mentioned, obviously I like. Those are all over 40. HV3 is kind of right there at 33. The tougher, of course, plays. I like him. He's a guy easily could have put in the gut fill play. He's probably, I imagine he's going to be one of the leverage plays this week. $9,700 will, especially the guys that took that, and I was one included, that got hurt by that horrible finish at Charles. I'll jump on that if he's now part of the brand, the RBC brand. Not that matters much, but that price may keep people off of him. So, but betting wise, 33, 40, I don't hate that either. Certainly we'll fine tune that card up as we get through the day. One and done Final 5 will be out tomorrow. And then don't forget, US Open, 30% off, week-long trial with any package you get. Even if you buy only a weekly, you still get a week free. Don't get charged for the first 7 days. Come join us, check it out. A lot of good things working on in the background heading into the fall. Looking forward to this week. I think maybe not as focused, which is kind of typical before a major. But I do think, obviously there's plenty of big prizes out there to be won. And I do think there's some good strategy this week, good game theory to talk about as we get into tomorrow. Hope you guys have a good Tuesday. Again, apologize for all the delay. I am feeling a little bit better. So if my voice and all that looked a little crazy, I still wanted to get the pod out. Going to rest a little bit, and then I will have everything back out later. Have a good Tuesday, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.